to Amazing Conversations. I am your host tonight, Andrea Revills, and joining me is my longtime friend, which my kids often say is my only friend, but that's not true. But she's definitely the oldest friend I have, and that is none other than Miss Latosha Brown. Hello.
Hi, friend.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Great. So listen, thank you for agreeing to join me tonight on this podcast. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, you know, in this day and age with so much stuff going on, a lot of people have been having issues stressing mentally and just their mental health being challenged. And one of the things that I found is that when you have a friend or somebody that you can maybe get an outlet and, you know, you can maybe go for coffee or dinner like we did, you know, last week, you know, that can kind of help ease the stress of just adapting to this new norm. And one of the reasons why, again, I asked you was because, as I stated earlier, gosh, you and I have been friends. How long, Tasha?
About 30 years. At least 30 years.
Exactly, at least 30 years. In fact, many of you all may not know, but Tasha was actually my first sleepover.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And she and I had our first sleepover when it was the night before I got married.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Sure did.
Because you gotta know my mom. I mean, my mama, she just you didn't go spend the night with people, and you didn't have people coming to spend the night with you.
That's
but
right.
Tasha and I, we've been together for so long.
We have.
Yeah, she was definitely, you know, my first overnight guest.
Yes. And was in your wedding.
In my wedding, that's right. So we go with it, and I was in hers.
Yes, sure was.
You know, I mean, she and I, we've witnessed a lot of things together.
We have.
And I consider it a blessing, you know, to have a friend such as you in my life, because again, you know, we practically grew up together. I think
That's true.
when you and I first started being friends, of course, we met in the church and everything. And at the time, somewhere along the way, we ended up dating two brothers.
We did. Sure did.
And let me tell y'all, Tasha and I, we were so green. You remember that time?
Yes. That
You
first date. That date that we went on. Was it McConnell's?
I think it was.
Red Lobster.
It was Makata's.
Because we were told we had to sit like Indian style.
And take off our shoes. And we so green. What do? We took off our shoes. We thinking, okay. Because, you know, that Makata's back then, that's like a fancy thing.
It was.
I mean, what, we were like 14, 15. We were very young.
Yes.
You know,
and not only was I young, I was coming from Arlington, Georgia. So I didn't know what to expect. You know, small town country girl. So he said, go into this restaurant and take your shoes off. I did just that.
Look, we didn't know that they weren't taking off their shoes. What? That's so crazy.
I know. But that's just how far we go back.
How far we go
even
back.
Being green.
That's right. And then, I know you was bringing up the Red Lobster situation.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Y'all have to forgive us. We laughing because we reliving the moment.
Yes. We're at the table, and I think when it was time for my order, she's having water and crackers or something.
No, one of these cheese biscuits.
Oh, yes. That's what it was. It was the cheese biscuit.
But it was his fault, too, because he said something. I think you slapped him.
I wasn't going to.
Yeah. Let's put it out there. She didn't slap him hard, but she slapped him enough for him to know you need to straighten up.
Don't try me like that. But yes, those were some fun times. Those were some fun times.
They were some fun times.
And that's where our friendship began.
Absolutely. And even in that, as she mentioned, I mean, of course, I'm a couple of years older than you, so I had gone to school and actually, like I mentioned, got married. And then when you finished and you moved away and went to college.
I did.
And you came back, and then you and I started working together.
Sure did.
You know, so we've been together for a while. I mean, I witnessed your first child. You witnessed mine.
Sure did. We did.
And now, so you have 3 children.
3 kids.
And I have my 4. But the thing about it, our youngest are the same age. So I have a boy, my youngest.
And I have twin girls. Those are my youngest.
Right,
twin girls.
right.
So, and they're all her son, and my girls are seniors.
Exactly. So Tasha, you and I, we are right at the helm of becoming
wow, empty nesters.
Empty nesters.
And I'm looking forward to it. I think I am. I say that I am, but I know it's going to be different because you and I both, we can relate. You know, this has been our life. You know, being a mom, and although we will still be mothers, it'll just be different.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, even with another similarity that you and I share, we kind of dated our high school. We ended up marrying our high school sweethearts. So you go from it being just the 2 of you, and then you start having children and you raise them, and now we're like really at the brink of, okay, it's about to go back to 2 of us again. And I'm like, oh, what are we gonna do? What that's gonna look like? What we gonna do?
I know. I just and when you think about it, I try not to think too hard about it, but it's only months away. I mean, we're you know, we're less than a year from experiencing that, and I often, you know, I try to think, what am I gonna do? You know, I look for my things just to have a lot of time on my hand, but and we kid and say we'll find something to do, but maybe we'll get to go to dinner more.
Maybe so, honey. Because I'm telling you, I mean, it's been so long, like you said, since we have been in that place where we pretty much just had to kind of see about, you know, ourselves and
the family. And the family, you know, making sure that the family needs, you know, were met as far as when it comes to a wife, you know, and a mother, and now it's about, I'm about to have so much free time where, you know, what am I gonna do?
Right.
You know?
And it's kind of scary because it's like you say, this has been your life for so long, and then okay, and you gotta know we're young enough where we still have a good quality of life.
That's true.
So it's like, if I'm not dedicating my time to these children, you know,
what do I do?
What do I do? Because back in the day, in which Tasha and I also, we share a special affection for shopping.
Shopping, yes, love to shop.
Love to shop. You know, and that's not always buying all the time. Sometimes it's just going looking, you know. So it's like, okay, and I know that was a big part of my life before children. I think it was yours too.
Yes, always have.
Right. So now it's like, do we revert back to thrusting ourselves deeper into shopping?
I know.
No, you're right. Don't do that.
I know, but I'm sure that's gonna be some of it. A lot of it. We love to see new places. We like to travel, and I'm sure that'll be a part of it. And I've been thinking about, I think I've mentioned it to you before, just thinking about what else I enjoy doing, you know, or what can I add, you know, something different about me, you know, because for so long when your plate is kind of full, you know, you focus on others, but when you finally have that time to focus on yourself and to think about, you know, what can I do that's gonna make Tasha a better person, you know, and those are things, even though my girls, they haven't graduated yet, but I know they're about to, but those are things I'm trying to think ahead, you know, thinking of things that I want to do, you know, that I'll have time to do now, that I didn't have time to do with them.
And I think that's a good plan, and I guess that's something that I need to kind of put more focus into, because again, I mean, you know, of course we still have our church involvement, you know, and our jobs, what we do, but again, as you mentioned, we're going to have extra time that we haven't had in the past 20 years.
Yes. Yes.
You know, so I think that's where a lot of, you know, just women should do as you stated. You know, find something that truly interests you, that you want to do, and again, because when you're so focused on, you know, taking care of the husband, taking care of the kids, taking care of the house, making sure dinner's prepared, washing this, and you know, a lot of times you can, to a degree, lose yourself.
You're right.
So thankfully, we are at a point where we can hopefully reconnect with ourselves and even our spouses, because we, you know, both of us are still with our husbands, you know, but at the same time, I think that's so important. That's even important for good mental health.
It is.
You know, and I think it should be even where we as women should look at it not as a guilt to do things that pleases us individually. You know, being in our 40s is a time, I think, of liberation, where you can kind of say what you want and to a certain degree even kind of do a lot of stuff that you want.
An older lady I was speaking with years ago, she told me, she said, I think I was just beginning to turn 40, about to turn 40, and she said, you can start a whole new life in your 40s. You know, she said you have time to, you know, do those things that you never had a chance to do. Even, she was speaking of, even if I wanted to do a new career or start something, she said, you can do that. She said, that's a good age. So although I'm, you know, in my mid-40s now, but I still believe that still applies, that I still have time to do those things. And like you said, we are involved, or actively involved with our church, and so that will always be a part. But and other than work, but that part where afternoons where, you know, I went home and I still tend to my family, you know, as far as, because we still have our husbands, but it's a lot of responsibility that will be lifted, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm starting to just look ahead and wait. And then having friends, just like how our conversation started with friendship, having friends that you can connect with. I think that's always good, you know, especially when you got a friend that's you all are in the same predicament where you know, you about to be an empty nester and I'm about to be an empty nester. So that definitely makes a difference.
And so I think, just to kind of harp on that even more, is that's an opportunity even for us as friends and others that may have friends that, you know, you may not have had opportunity to spend as much time with because of life and family responsibilities. Now, once you're at the point where we are, again, right at the cusp of being empty nesters, we can take this time and say, okay, let's schedule more friend time or me time with my friends. And, you know, I think that, too, is important for good mental health. And you know, I'm just blessed to have, again, as I stated, you as my friend, so that I can have somebody when I'm at the house. And I don't have no little person calling on me, because I'm telling you, I'm about to have a hard time. I mean, I'm trying to get ready, but mentally, somebody got to help me.
I know. And I say that myself, because when I literally say that my twins, my evenings, they're the type of girls that, you know, they'll come if I'm in the kitchen or if I'm preparing food or cooking, wherever I am, they'll come and they'll sit right in there and they'll have a conversation with me, and that's how my day goes, or that's how my day ends. We don't have a problem communicating with each other. So to go from that point to being in the kitchen and maybe preparing a meal and nobody's at the table to talk to me, I know that's gonna be tough. I know that's gonna be tough, and it's gonna take some adjusting to it. So I know it's gonna I'm gonna have to find something. Something to do.
But let me tell you, you have just really amazed and wowed me anyway, because again, as we've been knowing each other for 3 decades, longer than 3 decades. Yes. And I'll tell you, I had a newfound respect for you because you're the youngest out your family. I'm the oldest. So I always had the responsibility, of seeing about my younger siblings, whereas you were the youngest and they kind of helped saw about you. But baby, let me tell you, when you had those twin girls, first of all, y'all got to know Tasha was you a size 2 or a 0?
0.
I never saw a 0 by itself. Trust me, it was always preceded by another digit in my clothes. But this chick, when you had those twins, oh my God, I had a newfound respect because Tasha had her son Trey is
He was 4.
He was 4. Okay.
He was 4.
And she had those twins because of the type of work that your husband was doing at that time. A lot of times, you were at the church. It was just you and those 3 kids.
Yes.
And you had that big old double stroller, honey.
It was challenging.
Yeah.
It was very challenging. I can remember, because I remember the day when I called to tell you I was expecting. And then I can remember, because I remember when you called and told me when you were expecting Brandon, your last one. And so when I told you I was expecting, and then I called and told you when I found out it was that I was having twins. Yes. I just could not believe it. And at the same time, I couldn't believe it, but I was excited. Ooh, I'm getting that. I'm having twins. I'm special. I'm having 2 babies at one time. But when they got here, it was tough. Like you stated, my husband, the job that he had at that time, it was just, a lot of it was kind of where I had to maneuver them every morning, and it was just tough. I can remember going to work and that at that time I think you maybe had started a new job. You had left EFVM. But I can remember going through those doors and was like, Lord, I've had a rough morning, but don't let this affect what I go and hear and do for the citizens of Dougherty County. I had to say that prayer because it would have been rough. But to look at the girls now and look at Brandon now and Jordan and Jay and just how they've grown up, it just happened all so fast.
It did. And we kept them in the church, so for the most part, I feel, and I'm sure you feel the same way, doubly blessed in the fact that we have good children. Yes. We raised our children. Yes. And even with, like you said, you doing all the work that you were doing, almost functioning almost to a certain degree as a single parent because of, like you say, the job that your husband had. Even though she is by far not a single parent, her husband is very involved. I mean, he is the Mr. Man of all jack trades. Yes. He is that person. Yes. But even down to the fact of how well you did with raising your children, getting them here, keeping them involved in the church. And the last thing that just really blew my mind when my friend told me that her husband bought her a motorcycle. Oh. Yes. Now, I said, Tasha, look, you have surprised me on a lot of things, but when I found out you had a motorcycle and actively riding by yourself, now I'm just going to tell you, it's a lot of stuff that me and you are like on, but that right there, I'm going to let you have that.
I can't convince you on that one. I tried to tell you, it's fun. But yeah, I think that came from kind of a stance of when you have your spouse and you kind of buy into some of the same things or begin to like some of the same things that they like, because he didn't necessarily like all that shopping, but I can say he stood, if I wanted to go shopping, okay, we can go shopping, and he'd be right there. So when he began to start riding bikes and I would watch him, but I never really wanted or cared about riding it. But when he purchased that motorcycle, I said, okay, let me get on it and ride. And it's fun. I have a good time. And I'll probably do more of that when the kids are gone. We'll probably be able to ride a little bit more. And maybe by that time, my friend will take that on.
Don't finish that statement. I do not see that in my future whatsoever. The bike that my husband did have, he went ahead and got rid of it because he said this lady's not getting on.
Not getting on.
But I'm sure you and I will be able to find some other things to connect on and continue to nurture and grow our friendship. And the other good thing about having a friend is, you know, you have somebody that's there with you through thick and thin. If you need a shoulder to cry on or somebody to talk to, you know, about situations that you can't always talk to your spouse about.
That's right.
You know, it's always good to have a friend and somebody you can call. You know, and I no matter what time that I've called you or reached out to you, you know, you never made me feel as if you didn't have time or you didn't want to be bothered. And that is a special thing that a lot of people don't have. But I know that I have that type of relationship with you.
That is true. And I feel the same way because it's good to know that you have a true friend. You know, they're very rare to find these days. So when you have a true friend, someone you don't even have to talk to them every day, may not talk to them on the phone every week, you know, but it's just that whenever you all pick back up, you can pick up wherever you left off. You can laugh, have a good time. Don't miss a beat. And that just defines true friendship to me.
Absolutely.
That defines true friendship.
And that's definitely us, because I tell you, and we just actually joked about it before we started, talked about how when we do get together, you know, we say, okay, especially when we go out, okay, let's go ahead and decide what we're going to eat, because we already know if we don't, the waitress is going to be upset with us because it's going to take us a minute. But we go on and on and on. And I'm telling you, I love it. So, again, I thank you for joining me tonight.
Anytime.
And,
anytime. My pleasure.
Yes, and hopefully we'll have another opportunity to catch up. Maybe we can talk about this new catering business that
I look forward to.
This baking business that you started.
I look forward to.
I look forward to that. So again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for joining us on Amazing Conversations. I am your host, Andrea Revills. Thank you for tuning in. We hope to see you again next week.